All right. Um, Give me just a second. It has been um, a little bit of a chaotic morning on my end. Um, okay. This is our March informational meeting. My name is Jessica Hembry. I am the founder and lead admin for Newton County Homeschool Co-op, based out of Covington, Georgia. I am a homeschooling mom of three, lots of different hats, um, important ones for this meeting. And I am also an HSLDA ambassador volunteer for the state of Georgia. I am an ambassador for schoolhouseteachers.com and the Old Schoolhouse magazine. I am a tutor and I run a program that offers homeschool classes to homeschooling families in the Covington area. And part of what I do as admin for NCHC and as an ambassador is helping other homeschoolers follow, understand, and follow the requirements for homeschooling in the state of Georgia. I spend a lot of time helping homeschool families find the right type of curriculum for their student or their family situation. I a lot of the homeschool guidance that I provide is helping homeschooling families of middle schoolers and high schoolers understand the requirements for homeschooling high school in the state of Georgia, as well as help them figure out um, how to handle transcripts and record keeping in order to prepare their student for college, or tech schools or the military. Um, and so today's meeting is actually supposed to be focused on homeschooling middle schoolers and high schoolers. I have checked our Facebook event and we don't have any specific questions. Currently, we don't have anybody who has joined the meeting. Um, but I do want to just run through some basics. I will be referring to a couple of websites and I'll provide that information in the um, information section of this video once it gets put up on our YouTube page. And any additional files that I refer to, you guys are always able to email Newton County Homeschool Co-op and we can make those available to you. That email address will also be in the information section of this video. And then I probably am just going to refer back to some of our previous videos that are already on the channel, that you guys can go back and check out if you have questions. Um, we are always available within our Facebook support group for Newton County Homeschool Co-op. We are also always available to work with families through email. And I quite often meet with families locally in person if needed. Sometimes that's just easier for some of us to actually be in person instead of trying to do things virtually. All right. Um, when homeschooling a middle schooler or a high school, as far as requirements go, those are going to be the same across the board, regardless of the age of your student. So you still have to file your DOI. You, as the parent or guardian, have to have a high school diploma or GED or higher. You need to school in whatever way that looks like for you for at least 180 days of 4.5 hours during the course of the school year. Majority of us homeschoolers get way more than that, so that's usually not an issue. You need to make sure that you are covering the required core subjects, which are science, social studies, math, and English, including both grammar and reading. All right. You also need to make sure that you are following the requirements for standardized testing. In the state of Georgia, students are required to complete a nationally standardized test every 3 years, starting in third grade. So that would be third, sixth, ninth, and 12th. Unless your students went to public school at some point in time, and then that's going to change your scheduling a little bit. But there are a lot of homeschool families that test annually simply as a measure of where their student is sitting. So it's completely optional. There are lots of options for testing. We have another video on the channel where we talked about testing options, some of the most common ones, where to find those. So please feel free to go check that out. Beyond that is really, truly, honestly, the only thing you have to do in order to homeschool your high school student. And when they are finished, you, as the parent, as the head of your homeschool, have the ability to provide your high schooler with a high school transcript and a high school diploma. As long as you met all of those other requirements for the course of their schooling, you're good. That's it. All right. We have a video on the channel where we talk about creating transcripts, what transcripts might look like, as well as some suggestions on what courses you might want to make sure your high schooler takes. My suggestion to homeschooling families when I meet with them is elementary school tends to be the place where we get kids used to learning. We find out, what works for our student and what doesn't, what our homeschooling style is. And the focus is really just on teaching them how they can learn, how they can find information, how they basically are able to educate themselves. As students get older, upper elementary, then the focus tends to switch more to the actual academics, learning math skills, learning how to read, how to write. As students get into middle school grades, that focus tends to be more pronounced. Middle school is typically used as a couple of years to prepare your student for high school level studies. learning more complicated math, learning proper grammar, research skills, note taking, time management, how to write appropriate emails, how to write essays and reports, all of those things that they're going to be much more likely to do as a high school student. Um, it is definitely by the majority of families used as a preparation period, just getting your student prepared for high school. High school curriculum, obviously, like most of our curriculums, the older you get, the more complicated things get, the more heavy the workload, the more information they're expected to process. And so high school tends to be, for most homeschoolers, um, slightly more complicated. This is where you're more likely to spend longer periods of time working on certain subjects. Um, this is the point in time where students start thinking about a career path, what they want to do with their life. And so taking a look at colleges, figuring out what college requirements are, if they plan on entering a specific career field or a specific workplace, or if they plan on attending a specific college. You're able to look at those programs or look at those schools and find out what's required um, to enter that field. And so then most homeschoolers will sort of tailor the high school experience to make sure that their student has those required classes. Um, just like with the rest of homeschooling, there are all kinds of curriculum options, all kinds of homeschooling methods. When we get to high school level, we'll have the added option of dual enrollment. And this is when your student actually starts taking college courses as a high schooler. There are several programs that offer this option. And we actually are going to talk more about that next month. So I won't go into detail this today about dual enrollment. We'll talk more about that next month as we talk about college readiness. Um, but you're able to take a college course, and not only does it already count as college credit when you graduate and attend the school, but you're also able to count that as a class for your high school transcript. And so it's becoming more and more popular. More and more students are taking advantage of it, being able to prepare themselves for the college experience, as well as making it a little more easy to take care of specific classes based on your degree interest or your school choice, and makes it extremely easy to put those classes on your transcript. And so that's definitely an option. Like I said earlier, as long as you're meeting the requirements for homeschooling in the state of Georgia, there's nothing extra, there's nothing special that you have to do um, to homeschool a high school level student. Um, I'm not sure why everybody just assumes that it's going to be so much more complicated, or that we have to make sure that they have certain classes or anything like that. That's not in the rules anywhere. It's typically a suggestion we give when students know that they want a certain career or know that they want to go to a certain school, making sure that they have those classes just makes entry easier. Just like dual enrollment, it sort of gives them a foot in the door, a step up into what they plan on doing in the future. And that's it. Okay. Um, there are lots of support groups for high schoolers. There are lots of places for high schoolers to get socialization, art classes, dance classes, musical organizations, theater groups, places where they can take classes with other homeschoolers. Um, it's extremely common to find those for middle school and high school level. Slightly more difficult the younger your student is, but by the time you hit middle school and high school, most organizations have opportunities for those age students. Um, so, without having anybody online to answer questions for, that's the basic rundown as far as requirements, and some little suggestions on homeschooling high schoolers and middle schoolers. Again, you can refer to the other videos that we already have on the channel in regards to homeschooling elementary, um, curriculum options, and homeschooling methods. Um, and then our last meeting was all about record keeping and transcripts and testing. So if you need specific information on that, refer back to those videos. And again, I'll post links to HSLDA's website and the requirements for homeschooling in the state of Georgia. I also always like to share the Georgia Home Education Association's website. Um, they are both amazing resources to homeschoolers, and I strongly recommend, if you guys are able, to get memberships for both of those organizations. It not only helps support those organizations to help fight for homeschooling rights, um, but they both also provide homeschoolers with informational assistance, guidance. I think they both have class options. Um, there's just lots of benefits to both organizations. So I'll provide those links. I'll also provide the NCHC email address. So if anybody comes back later, maybe they wanted to catch this meeting and something came up, you are more than welcome to email NCHC, and we will do our best to answer any questions or provide you guys with any kind of information to help you with your homeschooling journey. All right. I hope everybody out there has a wonderful weekend, and we will have our next meeting. Previously, it was scheduled for April 21st, I think. Due to a schedule change that I could not fix, that has changed to Friday, April 7th. So Friday, April 7th is the next time that I will be on here, chatting with anybody who needs information on diplomas, graduation, and college readiness. And we'll also be discussing dual enrollment as a part of that meeting. All right. So again, have a great weekend, everybody.